On this week's episode, we were lucky enough to have Regno on. As a coach for CrossFit HQ, Ray travels the world teaching weightlifting, L1, L2, flexibility, and also has created an online community to support the sport that he loves. We were extremely humbled to have Ray on and take time out of his busy schedule to join us from San Francisco, California. And finally, this episode of the Iron Huddle podcast is sponsored by Torque Strength and Conditioning. Torque Strength and Conditioning is a great place to work out and offers a variety of programs such as Torque CrossFit, Torque Barbell, Torque Fit, personal coaching, and youth and teen development. And we hope you enjoy the podcast.
Just fresh off the plane, the beautiful snowy weather today, we got Ray Regno joining us. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes. Actually, if you want to be really correct, it's Regno, but we don't say that.
Regno.
Oh, really?
It's Italian, Regno.
Regno.
Like lasagna.
Gotcha.
Regno, but we don't ever say that. It's just say Regno.
Regno just sounds badass.
You know, I think they arbitrarily assigned it to us.
Oh, gotcha.
The earliest I can see that name in the cemeteries where my dad's from is like 1870 something.
Oh,
You're
really?
Filipino, right?
Yeah, so they were all tribal. They didn't have names. So.
Do you have a nickname? Is it like Ray Ray, anything like that?
Yeah, in college they called me Ray Ray.
Ray Ray. Okay. I kind of like that. You should go with it.
I'll stick to that now.
Pretty
Or Ray
original.
Regino. Remember Friends?
Yeah.
I had a friend who called me Regina Phalange. Because my nickname in lacrosse was Regino or Gino.
Okay.
So Regina
Gino.
Phalange.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you are, for people that don't know, they should know, Ray here with us is a level 3 CrossFit coach, is that correct? And then a level 1 USA weightlifting coach?
Yep.
And if I remember right, you predominantly travel around the world teaching and instructing, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in a different city every single weekend. I teach the level 1 seminar, the level 2 seminar, the flexibility seminar, and the weightlifting level 1. And I helped teach the level 2. And 2 weeks ago, I unofficially turned for the gymnastics seminar. That was kind of fun.
Nice.
What is a gymnastics seminar?
The CrossFit gymnastics.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so CrossFit has their own gymnastics area too?
Yeah, they do.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
guess, wow, okay.
Yeah, he's busy as hell.
Yeah, I should have asked, what don't you teach when you
Yeah,
teach
no
CrossFit?
shit.
I don't teach women's health or,
Yeah.
or like pelvic floor.
Do you step aerobics?
Step aerobics? No, but I did jokingly say I would learn Zumba if people wanted to do Zumba.
Oh, nice.
But you study all those.
So in college I took a Latin dance class
Oh, really?
to meet girls. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You learned the merengue, the cha-cha, the salsa, the lambada, the rumba, the tango, some capoeira. It was pretty awesome.
So,
I did Zumba once for a case of beer. I never got the beer. With a bunch of like 50-year-old ladies. It was not good.
I don't know how the story starts or ends, but I'm guessing you might have been drinking.
No, I was sober as a bird.
Oh, wow. All right.
Was it fun?
It was at my job. One of my coworkers bet me. She never gave me that case of beer. I'm so pissed about it.
So for you, Ray, how did you get into this? You started coaching in 2011 or so?
I started coaching in 2011.
So how did your journey start? Were you always an athlete growing up, or were you how did it start for you?
Yeah, I played baseball. I played Little League when I was a kid. In high school, I did cross country. I did wrestling. I started the roller hockey team in San Diego. In high school.
Seriously?
Oh, really?
Now, did that start on the same time like Mighty Ducks 2 came out?
About the same time, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Mighty Ducks was filmed at our college, actually.
little
Was
while.
it
First
really?
one, yeah.
That movie Bring It On was filmed at our high school.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, the whole opening sequence was in our high school football stadium, and a lot of the extras were actually kids I went to high school with. I graduated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a big thing back in 1999.
Oh, nice.
So that kind of tells you how old I am.
Was it 99? I was 11.
Wow, I was 19.
So after high school sports, did you naturally, because was CrossFit around back then? How did it develop? I mean, it must have been a 10-year gap for you there, huh?
Yeah, it was a big gap for me actually. I did lacrosse in college for a little bit, and then that was in 2003. 2 years later, I met this girl, got really, really fat because I was depressed all the time because nothing was ever good enough for her. I'm 5'4" and I weighed about 200 pounds. Eating like, I was eating like Carl's Jr. supersized stuff and sodas at 2 a.m. every single day. So I was huge. I was really depressed, and then got rid of that girl, and then I discovered hardstyle kettlebells.
Okay.
So I was doing
What is
that
it called?
stuff. Hardstyle, like
Hardstyle?
Hardstyle.
Yep.
So RKC style stuff, so I did that for a little bit, and then
Was that your reintroduction to the gym again after?
yes,
that
was my
relationship?
reintroduction to the gym. After that,
Okay.
I got back down 160 pounds after that pretty quick.
Okay,
wow.
so you went to 200 or 160. You changed some of your eating at all or not?
Yeah, I mean, I stopped eating stupid things.
So and right now, for people, if you take a look at the picture we have up for this post, you're jacked. At 5'4", you're pretty jacked. Are you around 160 still? Just
I weigh about 80 kilos right now.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does it come up to?
175.
175.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So back on your story, where you now got out of the relationship, you starting the hardcore kettlebells. Hard style. Okay.
Yeah.
And then where does it go from here?
So that was in August of 2007, and right about the same time, my sister, her fiance at the time, came home one day with a pair of Elite rings. Remember the red rings with the plastic? There's the red straps with the plastic.
Oh yeah.
If you've been doing CrossFit for a long time, you'll remember those. Those are the original rings.
Yep.
Like the straps actually went through the rings.
Yep.
So the rings didn't spin.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he comes home and goes, "Hey, you want to go work out?" And I go, "Sure." So we go over to the park. He goes, "All right." He throws the rings over the swing set. He goes, "Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do 20 seconds of ring dips, and then we're gonna rest for 10 seconds, and then we'll do 20 seconds of air squats, and then rest 10 seconds." And I looked at him like, "What is an air squat?"
Nice little Tabata.
Yeah, and I was like,
And then you walked out?
well, he says, "No, well, this is in a park," and he goes,
Okay.
"We're gonna do this for 8 minutes."
Yeah.
And I'm like, 8 minutes? That sounds stupid. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you've ever done a Tabata, you know that like a minute in, you're dying.
Yeah.
And so that was my very first workout.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And then after that, it was like Fight Club. Every single day, we'd get a text from Mike. He's like, "Hey, we're here. Hey, we're here. Hey, we're here. We're here." And so every week we'd be like working out in the park. I think my next workout was about 30 minutes away on the other side of San Diego in a park, and we did more Tabatas.
So was it always on the weekend, or was it just a day during the week, or how
during
did
the
you do
week,
it?
like in the morning, like I got my muscle up my first try.
Oh really?
So like Mike's like, "Hey, we're gonna throw these rings up on the swing set.
Yeah.
This is a muscle up." And they're like, "Oh, so you just start underneath the end up on top?" And like we all just played around chicken wing up, and we got our first try.
And was this Mike Bergner, or is this
No,
different
this is
Mike?
my sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Dwight on the set. You can cut that part out.
No, that was good. That was good. Okay, so you always in the park somewhere.
Yeah, we're
And
in
you
a park.
So what kind of, was it just 2 of you? Was it 5 of you? What kind of group showed up for these weekends?
Like the first workout was just me and Mike.
Okay.
And the second one was me, Mike, my sister, and a couple other people. And then after that, it was just maybe it would be like 10 of us in the park just playing around.
Okay.
And then a month later, my sister and Mike were looking for something to do. They're getting married in October. And they're like, "Hey, we want to start a gym." I'm like, "All right, I'll help you guys out." Like, so I actually did their wedding. And during a premarital counseling session with them, my sister's like, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if like that space next door to your mom's tea room was available?" And Mike goes, "Actually, they're moving out." So we cut this thing short. We went over there. We looked at the space, and next day we were signing a lease.
No shit.
Wow.
So yeah,
So you married them?
I married them.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
you were
cool.
ordained then as well to do them, or
What's that?
are you an ordained pastor to do this?
No,
as well,
I
or just
was.
got your
I did the
online license.
It was the what do they call that? The deputy commissioner for a day.
Oh, very
wow.
Yeah, that's what they call that. But at the time, I was actually working full time at a church. I was an intern pastor at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so we started the gym. I helped them get going, and then I pretty much disappeared for 4 years.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was in 2007. We started the Stronghold CrossFit and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
We did that for a little bit, and then
That's like one of the first.
Yeah, we were like the third affiliate in San Diego.
What was this called again?
The Stronghold CrossFit and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Holy cow! So
Like-
you incorporated everything within this one gym?
Yes, the reason why Mike started doing CrossFit in the first place was that BJ Penn, Chuck Liddell were doing CrossFit for MMA.
Yeah.
So he discovered it as a conditioning tool for Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
And so we opened the gym and started it as a CrossFit Jiu-Jitsu gym.
Yeah.
I disappeared for about 4 years. I was focusing on the church stuff, and in 2010, I was actually getting ready to move to the Philippines to be a missionary and take over a church over there. And then I ended up staying for another year or so to help out at the school. Here, it was in San Diego. I was helping teach at a school with the intention of starting a sister school in the Philippines. And then it was October of 2011. We were 4 years into the gym. And at that point, things were not going so well with Mike and my sister.
Sure.
And we were 3 months behind on the lease. And whose name is on the lease? Minus.
Ray.
So we're $15,000 behind.
Oh shit.
I was, it was 4 a.m. in the morning. Like the night before, Mike didn't even want to coach anymore. My sister's like, hey, he wants to quit. I'm like, he can't quit. Like we have an agreement. We can't do that.
So it's all on you now.
Yeah. And so it was like the next day, I was actually gonna get an attorney and shut down the partnership and just call it quits.
Yeah.
And then something inside me just kept saying, hey, go down there. I'm like, I don't want to go down there. It's a 30-minute drive. I don't want to drive down there. And then something inside me just kept saying, go down there, go down there, go down there. I'm like, fine, I'll go down there. So I drive down there. I'm about halfway there. I'm on the freeway. And I remember specifically the spot where I was on the freeway. And I thought to myself, I'm taking this thing over, aren't I? And so I walk in the gym. I hadn't even been in the gym for like a year. The CrossFit coach sees me. He goes, what are you doing here? And I go, I'm not really sure. And then Mike walks out from the back. He goes, what are you doing here? And I go, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I walk into the office. I'm looking at this big pile of mess. It's just like you couldn't even walk in the office. It was so disorganized. I'm looking around trying to make sense of stuff.
Yeah.
My sister and Mike had an apartment across the street, literally like 20 meters away.
Okay.
And I guess my sister saw my car parked out front. She walks across the street, comes in the door, she looks at me. She goes, "What are you doing here?" And I go, "I think I'm here to take over." And so I hung out for a little bit, and I was really struggling with the whole thing because my whole dream in life at the time was to be a missionary and to be a pastor and to travel and to teach students and do that sort of stuff. So I had my dream job. I was traveling every 5 months, taking students on missions trips. Went to Scotland, went to Portland, went all over the place. I did a month in Scotland.
Yeah.
It was super cool. So I was living it, and at that point I was like, man, I gotta drop all that and take this over. And so that's what I did.
Was it something that just kind of, you just knew you had to do it?
Yeah, I just knew I had to do it.
I didn't have an answer for you. Like, I just know I have to do this.
It was just like I didn't know what it was gonna look like, and I didn't know how I was gonna make it work. But I just knew that I had to be there.
This was definitely a pivoting moment in your life.
Yes,
for sure.
Huge shift. So I took over the business side of things. This is October 2011. In December 2011, I went and did my level 1. And driving to Prescott, Arizona from San Diego, California, I was thinking to myself, man, we're still $15,000 behind on the rent. The landlord could totally come in and lock the door on us and not let us come back. And I was leaving, and it really made me nervous because I was going to be out of the state and not able to diffuse any situations that happened. So I got my level 1. I did Fran. I barely made the time cap under 9 minutes, under like 9:40 something. Like,
oh yeah,
it was pretty bad.
When I did my O1, that's when they did Fran.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do pull-ups anymore. Do jump pull-ups. I'm like, oh my god.
Prescott, Arizona is also altitude.
Oh yeah.
So that was pretty brutal too, and it was like super cold.
Okay.
So I came back, and I was helping with the gym, and I was like, our coach at the time, he didn't give free classes away. He's from New York. He's like, no, you don't give anything away for free. I'm like, dude, it's California. You give things away for free.
Yeah.
So I got him to let us do free Saturdays again.
Okay.
And we went from like 18 CrossFitters to about 45 by February.
Just by opening the gym that people come and trust you guys and learn.
It's such a different thing. You gotta show people. You can't just
give it away.
You can't just talk to them about it.
Yeah, like Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about give, then ask.
Yeah.
Right.
So was that a part of your? I don't know if you had much business experience going.
Zero business.
So
I'm a software engineer.
Yeah. Oh, you are.
My degree is in computer science.
Okay. So like for you to take over a business, $15,000 in debt.
I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just figuring it out.
Yeah. How did you climb out of that?
Oh, okay. So here's what happened. By March, April, we had about 45 members, 50 members. We're finally starting to put a dent in the debt. I thought we were putting a dent in the debt.
Yeah.
And then our CrossFit coach at the time, he had just moved from New York. He was actually living on unemployment for a while.
Okay.
And then now that we were making money, quote unquote making money, he was asking for more money. And I was like, bro, I can't give you more money. Like, we're not even paying the rent back. Like, how am I supposed to give you more money? And I took a week away from the gym and just had to kind of clear my thoughts. And I came back and I go, hey man, I'm really, really sorry, but we can't pay you anymore. We can't do this anymore. I'm really sorry. And so he left. I mean, he was really upset about it. We were becoming pretty good friends, Like I was learning the gym stuff from him. Like I knew nothing. I literally knew nothing. And then suddenly, April 2012, I was the head coach of CrossFit Stronghold. Knew absolutely nothing. If you counted the number of CrossFit classes I had attended total, including my level 1, it was probably about 10, 12 classes.
So it's definitely the old jump off the cliff and learn while you're falling.
Exactly.
For
So
sure.
was this a gym in San Diego then, CrossFit Stronghold?
Yeah, San Diego, right by the airport.
And then real quick, when you guys mentioned you got your C your L1 certificates for CrossFit training. What's the Fran you both mentioned? Is that a certain teacher or what is that?
What's the what?
For someone who has no idea what the Fran is, what is the Fran you guys?
It's a benchmark workout, so it's a really famous workout. It's 21 thrusters, 21 pull-ups, 21. Oh my gosh, it's 21, 15, 9.
21, 15, 9 of
Okay.
Thrusters and pull-ups. It should be done in under 3 minutes.
Holy smokes.
If done correctly, under 3 minutes.
All right.
My best time is 5.
Your best time is
Hey, I'm 285, man.
Yeah, okay.
What was your time, do you remember?
My best time is 248. I think.
That's flying. I saw a 201 once.
A what?
A 201.
Oh,
That's the fastest I've seen.
Camilo Blanco has an A201.
Oh, man.
Easy day.
Yeah.
So then from there, you started working at the Stronghold CrossFit.
Yeah. I took over the gym, head coach. Just thankful I didn't kill anybody. Didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was writing workouts on my drive to the gym every morning. I had no clue. I literally had no clue what I was doing.
Okay.
And I was learning as I went.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm the type of person where if I jump into something, I'm gonna learn it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessive.
Yeah.
So I would watch everything on the CrossFit Journal that I could find. I would read articles. I discovered Kelly Starrett and started watching mobility WOD stuff.
Yeah.
That's
And
when the
then
journal was legit.
the journal was. I mean, it still is legit,
it's good,
but
but it
it's
was-
like that was when things were like that. It was like the golden era.
Yeah.
You know, back then when people were starting to learn things and like I would go away. In January 2013, I went to the coaches prep course, which is now the level 2 course.
Yeah.
And I went away for the weekend. It was my first time leaving the gym for a weekend, and Mike ran the classes for me while I was gone. And I got members texting me like, dude, like, we were there in the gym for 20 minutes.
What?
And I mean, what do you mean? He's like, oh, well, Mike just read the whiteboard and said, all right, go. And then they were done. I was like, you didn't do a warm-up? You didn't do a skill session? You didn't do a cool-down? She's like, no. Because back in the day, that CrossFit, that's what it was. It was like, we didn't know, like, oh, CrossFit.com, here's the workout. Okay, cool, what do we do? Let's just do the workout. Or like, for a while, Mike just would program long chippers because that's what they were doing for jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's a chipper?
A chipper is like a really long workout, be 40 minutes long. You'd have like one movement, you got to finish, and then go to a new movement, and then go to another movement.
There's
just
different
chip
like
away
reps
at it.
for each one.
Well, I think the difference there, just from the little bit you're explaining between someone putting a whiteboard workout up and doing it for 20 minutes and leaving, and what you were explaining, especially, it's funny, 6 years ago, but for you to dive in when like all that supple leopard, Kelly started that stuff was brand new, and doing our certifications and learning, going out there, it really separates probably where you are today because you went in, jumped off the deep end, and just like you said, had to be obsessive about learning that. Probably is a good starting point to where you are today, right?
It's a huge, and I mean, what really changed my world was when I went to the CPC. I met Adrian Bosman, Miranda Oldroyd, and Russell Berger, and that was when I decided, hey, I think I might want to do this seminar staff thing. Okay. So I asked them about it. I go, hey, how do I do this? And they said, okay, well, you'll finish this course. There wasn't a test back then. He said, just send an email to HQ and say you want to intern. I go, okay.
And that's CrossFit HQ?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I sent it the email. I said, hey, I just finished the CPC. You know, I run my gym in San Diego. I would like to intern. I said, okay, cool. So come up to, so I did a seminar in San Diego at CrossFit Del Mar, which is where I used to coach.
Okay.
And Pat Sherwood was my mentor that day.
Yeah.
Miranda Oldroyd was there.
Okay.
Dustin Virgil, if you maybe remember him from like the games.
Yep.
Like he was another intern that weekend. He came in totally sucked up and brought like protein cakes or something like that. I was like, whoa, bro, really going out. I just walked in like.
How's it going?
Yeah. And one of the things I'll always remember was that Pat said, "Be more relentless." And that's why it's on the back of my shirt. Be relentless.
I like that.
Be relentless. Like you need to make sure that even the good movers move well. And what was really neat was he let me demo the squats during the breakout session. He actually let me lead a movement for I think I taught the Sumo Deadlift High Pull. Didn't know the progression. Didn't know what I was doing, but he let me try anyway.
Yeah.
And then the way the internship process works is if they like you, you get invited back to a second weekend.
Okay.
And so I got invited back for a second weekend. This time it was in Portland, Oregon at CrossFit X Factor.
Places at the table.
Yeah. And so I flew up there, and Todd Woodman was my mentor that weekend. And at this point in time, at the internship, the second weekend was you taught all of the movements for all the breakout sessions.
Okay.
So if you took your level 1, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you remember the breakout session
2,
was
yeah.
like 55 minutes for the squat section.
Yep. It's terrible.
I taught the air squat, the front squat, and the overhead squat in 21 minutes. And I'm looking at my watch, and I'm like, oh, these guys look pretty good. I don't really know what to do with them. So I look at Todd, I go, is there anything you'd like to add? He's like, Yes, absolutely. He pops in there, and I'm just like standing there with my face melting off, watching him do all this stuff, and I was like, whoa. Like, and that was when I realized I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And he just would make these people, I didn't even know what he was doing. I just recognized that people were looking better, but I didn't know what it was he was fixing or why it was working or any of that stuff. It was just, I just realized I didn't know anything. And he was super nice to me because I've heard of interns being sent home the same day, like, hey, you suck, go home, like, see you later.
Yeah.
And
So he saw something in you at least.
yeah, he actually gave me a chance. He said, you know, that didn't go so well. Here's what I'd like you to try next time. So he let me teach the presses that day, which was, he didn't have to do that. He was super nice and let me do it. And I did better.
Okay.
And then the next day he's like, all right, I want you to come with a plan to teach the deadlifts. And so I came in and taught the deadlifts. And at the end of the day, he sat down with me and he goes, you know, it's really clear that you're passionate about this. You love people. You want to help people. But I'm going to tell Dave and Nicole that you should take 6 months and just practice a little more, get a little more experience, and maybe try this again. And so that was actually the best thing that ever happened to me as a coach, was to fail and fall on my face. Because I didn't know, again, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And what that taught me was that as a coach, it's your responsibility to always be learning.
Yeah.
So I went home, and here's what I did. I started following everything I could find on the journal. I read every single article there was. I started following every single video I could find from Kelly Starrett. I was learning about mobility. I was learning about this, that, and the other. I did my USAW.
Okay.
Because for me, it was a squat section where I really tanked.
Okay.
Right? I'm like, I need to know everything there is about the squat.
Yeah.
And I would email Todd like every week with his long emails, like, what about this, and what about this, and what about that? And he was always super patient and would write back. And that I met Teresa Larson, who used to teach the mobility WOD seminars and was on staff with Kelly Starrett.
Okay.
And I became friends with her. Actually, I met her as a patient because I messed myself up doing a clean. I like landed, I hit my elbow on my knee, and my wrist was jacked up for months. And I did it on my other wrist, and then went back to the right wrist. So I was broken for like a year and a half. But during that time, I was like seeing her as a patient, and I was learning a ton from her. So I would just schedule a follow, make excuses to go see her, like, hey, I'm broken, keep talking to me. And so I was just using that as like education.
Yeah.
And then I took about 7 or 8 months, went back, tried again. Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet was my mentor the first time.
Oh, wow.
Back, and
Was she competing at the time?
yeah, she was competing.
Okay.
She is one of the smartest people. I remember she brought in a group, she broke up this group, and they were doing push jerk, and one out there, she said, these 2 people are doing 2 different faults, but they're very similar to each other. I want this group to watch this, I want this other side to look at this, and then let's talk about it later. I'm like, how the heck did you even see that?
Yeah.
But I went through that with her, and then I got invited back for the second one, and then a third, and then my 4th one was in San Jose, and it was with Adrian Bosman. And I was like, oh dear God, I'm gonna get no rep on my coaching. But he...
Anxiety.
Yeah. But he was, I mean, arguably the best feedback I'd gotten. Like, he was just really patient. He had really, really great insight, and he just, I mean, all the mentors are super awesome. Like, Eric Preston taught me, like, move with intention. Like, that was the first time I ever heard that, like, move with intent. Make them fight for millimeters.
Yeah,
millimeters of improvement.
I like that, yeah.
Stress them to make sure they know they're doing
Yeah,
right.
get them to really, like, even good movers can move well. And but Adrian, I think I was really surprised because I was really intimidated by him, but was really he was just like the nicest person. Like, I'd met him before at my level 2 or my CPC, but it was just, when you're being evaluated, you're just so...
It's the worst, man.
It's the worst. And you're just like, yeah, I remember watching you lecture at my Coach's Week.
Oh yeah, Coach's Week for Strong Fit.
Threw him under the bus. All right, Tyler, you're going to teach this right now.
Yeah, you got control function. I'm like, what? I spit it out, but I was so nervous. I did it so fast. I knew everything.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was good, but I'm like, sorry guys, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
But I had never done it before. But it's one thing to coach athletes. It's another thing to coach coaches.
Yes.
It's another thing to be analyzed by other coaches.
Especially smart coaches.
Yeah.
So for you and everything that you overtook and encompassed and dove yourself into to learn, how did you get confidence and gain confidence through your coaching of other athletes and coaches yourself then? What was important for you to go through that process? What did you find that helped improve to where you are now?
I just surrounded myself with really, really awesome people.
Okay.
Like Mike Bergner. Like, the other person that I was hanging out with during that time when I was prepping for my internship again was Cody Bergner.
Oh,
so
is that his son or
I
something?
hired
That's his
his
son.
youngest son.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I paid him, like, I joined Invictus as a member.
Okay.
But my real intention was just to work with Cody.
Yeah.
You know, I think I saw him like once every other week or something like that.
And is that family, or is Mike Bergner like the god of like CrossFit?
He's like the god. He's like the godfather of weightlifting.
Okay.
CrossFit.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's
definitely.
the original subject matter expert seminar.
Okay.
Yep.
The first one they ever did.
When I was coaching at the Strong Fit seminar last December 2018, or no, 2017,
17,
sure.
all of a sudden I saw Mike Bergner. I'm like, oh, turned into a total fanboy. I'm like, can I get a picture? And then he started asking me about, because all of a sudden he asked about weightlifting, and Julian's like, well, Tyler's been, doing it with his gym. And I'm like, that's a horrible French accent. But just being like spending
Italian.
10 to 15 minutes talking to Mike, coaching him on it.
Okay.
That was, and he obviously it's Mike Bergner, so just trying to get any kind of knowledge out of him. But he's, what is he, 73 years old?
72.
70. But that's just a testament to like he's still open book to learning.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic coach. Like that's the way everyone should be. Everyone looks up to that man.
Through Cody, I met his dad.
Okay.
And then I started going to his house every Wednesday. And what I would do is I would just literally sit there, and I would zone in on whoever coach was watching.
Yep.
And I'd just watch him move, and I'd look at coach and see what he saw. And if I saw what he saw, then cool. If I didn't see what he saw, then I would make a note of it. I gotta look for it next time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so as a coach, the biggest thing that I see that's lacking with quote unquote coaches, Julian calls these t-shirt coaches, the guys that just write on the whiteboard, here's the workout, blah.
Yep.
They have zero ability to see faults.
Yep.
And then therefore they need to have 90 million things on the plan to do something, because they don't know how to fix people. They don't see faults, they can't correct faults. And that was the biggest thing, as I surrounded myself with really smart people and just watched him coach and learn from him.
Okay.
And that was the biggest thing for me by far.
That takes a long time to get an eye.
Oh gosh.
It takes so much time.
And with the StrongFit stuff now, it's like I feel like such a noob. Like I literally, during Coaches Week, I was watching people doing the assessments, and I'm like, and Richard's like, dude, you're concentrating so much on the trees, you're missing the forest. And I go, ugh, like I feel like ground zero again. But
That's something you do. You have to step back.
I gotta step back. But one thing that you said, Tyler, really cool about Coach B is that he really is, even at his age right now, he's always learning.
Yep.
And if I can be half of what Coach Bergner is, I'll be happy with my life. When I die, whenever it is, like if I can get half to be like him, he's the kindest person I know. Like super, super humble. I mean, he opens up his house for free for people to come train.
Yeah,
He gives his phone number away at the games. Like, this is my phone number, 76 there. Like, really? Like, you literally gave him his actual phone number.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's
No one
really
does that shit anymore.
let you know about his intent too. Isn't all
Just
about
loves
himself
people.
and growing up.
Well, you can tell the passion with him in 2 seconds, the way he talks.
Yeah.
So like when he speaks, people shut up and listen.
Yeah.
So it's nothing but respect for him.
Yeah.
So then applying this to you then, you've mentioned a few times now the most important thing for you is finding value that you can offer movers that already move well to move better.
Yeah.
How do you go about applying that? I mean, obviously there's movers who don't move well that you can obviously go and help correct. But movers that do move well, how do you try to identify those with those lifters? And then with that, how do you find a way to maybe, because everyone learns different cue, different way.
Yeah.
Does it come down to communication with you as well a lot of times?
It's definitely communication. It's trying to figure out as many ways as you can to explain the same thing.
Okay.
And just training your eye to see the fault.
Sure.
And then help, because if the athlete doesn't get it, whose fault is it?
Yeah.
It's yours.
It's the coaches.
You could say knees out, 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 chest up.
Yeah.
And if they don't fix it, well, whose fault is it? It's yours.
Almost like you were explaining earlier, the analogy of having that ball between your legs, and maybe you explain that to somebody versus knees out. Right there could be a good cue, I guess.
That's the thing too. It's definitely a trial by error.
For sure.
Yeah. And you may not get it that day. But it's time. Right?
It's really just experimentation, and that's one thing I really love about what Julian teaches. Is he says, just learn how to learn and don't be afraid to experiment. I think being a software engineer, that really taught me a lot about, hey, let's just fiddle with this and see what'll work. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And one of the things that I see a lot of times with people with computers, or even coaching, it's like, well, how do I do this? And because they're so afraid to fail.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, failing's good. Like, the fact that I fell flat on my face on my first internship was the best thing to happen to me as a coach.
Yeah.
Because it really taught me that, no, you're not going to ever stop learning, ever.
Yeah.
And I tell the people that I mentor, if I ever say I've arrived, then stop following me because I've lost it. I'm not worth following anymore.
Yep.
You can't be complacent. You got to get uncomfortable to grow. You have to
be.
And with that, it sounds like you're continuing to grow within yourself and learning as well now that you've continued through the CrossFit learning, teaching, and now it sounds like you're getting in more into the strong fit culture. And Julian's the head of that you guys referred to?
Yeah.
Okay. How's that been for you?
It's been very humbling.
Okay. It sounds like it's been a mind-muscle connection for a lot. It's like the bodybuilders exactly you're always thinking about, like, that's what I took when you guys were talking before the podcast on this almost.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, during my assessment during Coaches Week, I learned that, Richard's like, dude, Ray is such a good athlete that if you tell him to do something, he'll figure out a way to do it. Yeah. Regardless of whether or not it's correct or not.
Yeah.
And so for the longest time, I've been having problems with my low back doing deadlift workouts, like Diane, 21, 15, 9, deadlifts, handstand push-ups. Always my low back would light up. The open workout a couple years ago with the 55 deadlifts, that wrecked my back. So I discovered here's the way I would get around that was I would pick up the bar, drop it, pick up the bar, drop it, and I got really good at resetting. Yeah. But it was just a band-aid on the problem. Okay. During my assessment, it became really, really apparent that I just don't know how to use my glutes and hamstrings. Like I live in my low back and my spinal erectors that do all the work, and that's super, super common. You watch athletes, their lower back does all the work. They have no concept of how to hinge, which is a very fundamental movement. But I've gotten really good at faking the shapes. So one of the things that's really, really, really crucial for me is, and been a paradigm shift is, don't coach the positions, coach the tension. Tension first, then position.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, I think that's for everyone. Yeah. Like that's something you do get kind of lost in. I kind of say now people look at points of performance. So I've been trying to coin the term points of movement. So like, where should you be? Where should you feel it? Rather than I don't want it to look pretty.
Or more points of tension, I think would be more appropriate.
Yeah, points of tension. Yeah.
And now I always ask, what do you feel where?
Yeah.
Do you feel this? No. Well, then you're not doing it correctly.
Yeah, it's really tough because all of a sudden, we had an athlete in here earlier who amazing athlete, but anytime he deadlifts, his lower back would blow up.
Yeah, same
right?
here.
And all of a sudden, he comes down for an assessment, and we look at his erectors, and I'm like, dude, he literally had like tenderloins on both sides. Mm-hmm. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. Did you see mine, like my right side versus my left side?
Oh yeah, it's like an inch higher.
Yeah, it's huge compared. Yeah. And that's always the side that gets lit up.
Yep. Is just because naturally one side of your body might develop more than the other, or is it something you maybe
it's compensated for something going on?
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You look at Olympic weightlifting, you look at CrossFit, you look at a lot of these strength sports. Like Olympic weightlifting, a clean or a snatch, that's a squat coming off the floor. It's not a hinge. So now we're basically going too far one way in movement, and we don't even things out.
Well, then it should be a hinge, though.
It should, yes, yeah.
And that's a tricky thing for me is, I mean, in the inexperienced CrossFitters, you'll see it's a squat because they don't get their knees out of the way. They never really get into their posterior chain ever. No. And
you see that huge external rotation where they just get their knees out of the way,
exactly.
And they put it right in the lower back. You're like, do you feel your hamstrings? No, I feel my lower back. No shit.
And there's a really huge discrepancy for me. Like I can front squat 160 kilos. Jesus. I can only clean 120. That's a problem. Yeah. And it's in my pull. It's my hinge. I have a weakness in the hinge. I could squat all day long. Oh. I have the levers for squatting, and I'm a terrible puller.
That's true. Like me, I can jerk 182 kilos. My best clean's 150. So you see that a lot with people who can't hinge. I'm one of them. Yeah. It's better now.
Yeah.
So then back to kind of what we were talking about before with points of tension. Mm-hmm. Like one of the other great lifters we have in here is 53 years old, and we nickname it Fen Tension. That's his name. Because as the weight gets higher, he gets more fast, more quick, and he completes the lift. And
he's
we were talking the other day about it, and I said, it's amazing how he gets stronger every time the weight goes up. And he goes, honestly, I think it's because I focus more on the tension as the weight goes on. And I thought about that, and it's kind of what you're saying right now, how, and how do you teach that? Like you talked about the deadlift where you're lacking in your glutes and your hamstrings and stuff. I mean, with a lifter who may be going through the same thing that you're going through, without giving away all your secrets, how do you find those points of emphasis or tension do you make a lifter drop, glutes to heels to engage those, or how would you, I guess, advise someone who's lacking that in their deadlift to incorporate it?
Well, here's what Julian and Richard told me to do was you're not really allowed to. I mean, I've kind of been breaking the rules. You're not supposed to be snatching or cleaning. I'm not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like 3 months, you just need to work on structure, and it's like, because I mean, truth be told, 2018 I didn't lift very much, but somehow I PR'd my clean. Yeah. But because I teach a weightlifting seminar, I drill the PVC pipe all the time. So the positions are like, it's muscle memory.
Yep. So that's okay.
But really what the issue for me is I need to rebuild the structures so that they're strong to move the loads. Yep. And so for me, what Richard says is, hey, I just need you to take 20 minutes and find your hamstrings, find your glutes, and that's it. Like, you're done when you feel your hamstrings or glutes. And it's not enough to just say, do 7 sets of 3, because you can do 7 sets of 3 and not feel the tension in the right spot. It's like, go until you cramp.
So break it down a little bit more for me here. When you say find your glutes, find your hamstrings, how do you find those? I mean, is it just going through the movement when you say structure? Is it going through that movement over and over and over again until you feel it? Or what do you mean when you describe finding?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. Honestly, you kind of just open up a box of a lot of stuff we can talk about for hours. But here's the thing: what we would have to do is start off at brass, like base 0. So let's see how they move. Can they actually hinge? Right. Let's do some openers. You got to start. I like to say center out. So can they even fire their obliques? Can they keep tension in their obliques?
And this is pretty much exactly what strong fit is, right? Finding those structures. Okay.
Yeah, so really working on those bounces. It's principles of movement. But the thing about it is, you can incorporate it in anything. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Movement's movement. Yeah. It does not matter.
Yeah. It sounds so easy, and you're like, find your hamstrings. You
would
how
think,
the hell
but
do you find those? That's why it would take
really
forever.
Hard.
Yeah. You would think.
And it is, because you think about how many athletes, like a gym like this or his or other gyms, they have athletes for how long? Yeah. And all of a sudden they're stuck doing something one way. Yeah. It's so hard to bring them back.
Oh my gosh.
It's and not only that, you all of a sudden, like, you're kind of attacking their
identity.
Yeah, their identity or self-worth and their success. And they're like, well, why do I need to do this? Well, just give it a try. When I started incorporating this stuff 2 years ago, I got a lot of friction. But I'm too stubborn. I will once I know, if I know something's right, and just like you said, it was just a shift for me. Okay. And I knew I was going to stick with it. But now we literally have like no back pain. We don't have injuries ever. Like, if it's anything, it's someone new coming in from previous injuries, and people's numbers are better. Honestly, another thing too is there's a whole other can of worms, but the culture's better. We've all had great culture, but everyone's emotions are better. It's just amazing how much it's affected everything. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
It makes sense. If you get your mind in the right place with the same common goal, and it's all in the same direction. And one thing I think that a huge misconception for me was never knowing that, I always think of CrossFit and I think of reps for reps for reps for reps, and there's no technique, right? And I never knew, again, that the CrossFit Games are separate than CrossFit. So when I see that, I just think my perception was, why would I want to go do CrossFit and just injure myself or not be able to recover the next day?
That's a very common conception.
So I guess for me, to know that you guys actually, the whole basis is built off the tension, learning those. So like when they come to you, you guys actually spend all the time learning those movements. Is actually eye-opening, to be honest with you.
It's something you definitely try to master the craft, but I know it's going to take a lifetime. Like anything, you never really master anything, right?
Yeah, but I think one example I like to use is about 2 years ago, I totally screwed up my nervous system because I was trying to do the Catalyst Athletics weightlifting program and a gymnastics program simultaneously.
So you bring yourself off then, or what?
Shit.
Within 4 weeks, I was so screwed up. I went to Coach B's house, couldn't even power clean 70 kilos. Yeah. And Coach looks at me like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, literally just says, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And I go, and I explained to him what I was doing. I go, "How do I reconcile the two?" And he goes, "You're not gonna like my answer." And I go, "Okay." I distinctly remember this moment. I was sitting on the ground. I was looking at him. He was sitting in the chair. Yeah. And I go, "Okay, well, what do I have to do?" And he's like, "You need to take 3 weeks off." And I go, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can I go surfing?" He's like, "No, you can go take a walk." And I'm like, "Okay." And he said, "Actually, you could drill with PVC pipe, but that's it." And I go, "All right." And when Coach Bergner tells you to do something, you better do it. And I went home and I would coach in my gym, and I'd come back the next Wednesday, an hour drive from my gym to his house. Drive an hour to work out with PVC pipe.
And that was a commitment you made because of the belief in him.
Well, he told me, if Coach tells you to do something, you do it. So I did it for 3 weeks, and people were making fun of me, like, "Dude, Ray, stop being a puss." And Coach be like, "No, leave him alone. He's recovering."
Yeah, and that's something people don't know until it happens to you. If you've ever actually crashed your central nervous system.
Oh gosh.
I did it like about a year before I met Julian. I was sick for 2 weeks. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do shit. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I seriously thought I had like cancer. It's a scary thing. Did you put on any bad weight when that happened?
I don't remember, but
I know I put a solid 15 pounds of shit on me.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I do remember when I was done. Holy moly! Like, because I would just drill PVC pipe. You have those athletes who say, I need more weight to feel it.
Yeah.
No.
So basically, you've admitted to being a motor moron, is what you're telling me. Like, you need training wheels to tell you where you are in space. Like, you have, like, most athletes say, hey, put the bar over your head. What do they do? They put it behind their head. You're like,
yes.
No, dude, look up. Where's the bar? Oh, it's behind me. And so that's why gymnasts are such great athletes, because they don't need feedback. They have that movement intelligence.
They know how to move their body in space. Yeah. And they have such a good awareness with it.
And that PVC pipe, like we just reposted a video of this I did like about a year ago at HQ. It was like, dude, telling the story. It's like I would sit in the bottom of an overhead squat for 10 seconds and I go, okay, well, let me take inventory. Where am I? Where do I feel tension? Yeah. And let's fix it, because the weight's not heavy. So am I feeling it in the right spaces? Is the bar where it's supposed to be? And what made me better at overhead squatting was overhead squatting. Like it sounds so stupid, but I used to be that guy. I used to be the coach who did this. I would coach the 5 a.m. class, 6 a.m. class, go home. I had every single mobility toy that Kelly Starrett sold on Rogue Fitness, like everything. I had the Supernova 2.0, the Supernova 60 millimeter. I had all the lacrosse balls. I had all the elastic bands. The only thing I never bought was the thing, that Battlestar thing, where it was the rollerblade wheels, and that's the only thing I never bought. Okay. But I had the Gemini, the fancy double lacrosse ball. I had all those things. 3 hours a day of mobility work.
Wow.
Wasted time doing stuff I didn't even need to do.
Yeah. Like, and there is a point to that stuff, but it is one of those things where I roll out for about 30 seconds now. Just before I lift. That's all I do.
I roll out maybe once every 3 months if I'm really, really racked and just need to overload the muscle so it relaxes the hell down.
Yeah, I like to do it for back adjustment, but like you don't need all that shit.
What's funny about that too is, like, for me, I realized that I was stretching out for a while a few months ago, which I never used to do. Yeah. And I was getting weaker because I was too overstretched.
You were losing tension.
Yeah, so now, and now I don't do it, and now I'm tight again. I can pop out of the bottom of the squat. It's funny how that. But you have to go through what you went through to find out where you are now.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. So you give you credit for doing that.
You gotta mess stuff up. Like, I realized from that exercise that an emphasis on finding tension and moving, and even still, it's like a lesson I've been learning for the last 5 years, and still continuing to learn. Like feeling it, like mastery. Like my thing this year is movement mastery is greater than task completion. Like, you see CrossFitters all the time. They celebrate over their muscle up, but it's that really ugly
the chicken wing.
Their shoulders are rolled forward, all internally rotated. It's like, I got a muscle up. It's like, can you do a strict pull-up?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Well, why? You have no business doing that. You're gonna wreck yourself.
Just waiting for that broken clavicle or torn pec.
Torn labrum or something crazy. It's like not worth it. And you look at gymnasts. And they take like 6 months to a year to develop the soft tissue dexterity to even do something like that, and that's proper progression. Whereas like the average CrossFitter, like, they see it, it's sexy. I want to do this now. And like, no, that's not the way it works.
No, that's. I can't say enough about that.
Well, that's a great point, because you think about like the lifetime of a lifter, and most of the people that are at their strongest might even end up being in their late to mid 30s or so, early 40s, because they've been doing it now for 20, 30 years. You think about these gymnasts, most of them start out when they're really young. Yeah.
Oh,
they build that soft tissue and everything around the muscle.
Well,
that allow them to have the structure to do it.
It's amazing how well it sticks with them.
Yeah.
Like a girl from our gym, Jessica, she was I think she was just almost a level 10 in high school. So she was really high level, and all of a sudden the other day he did a video with her just doing handstands up and down the gym like nothing. I'm like, hasn't done it forever, but she just, and not only that, she has great awareness in lifting.
That's the interesting thing about gymnastics, actually. It's like, I studied gymnastics pretty intently for about a year or two, and gymnastics is one of those funny things where you'll be fiddling with something and you just can't figure it out, and then maybe a week later you're just fiddling around, not even intending to do something, and then you do it, and like,
what the hell is that?
Like, I could still do something, like, probably not as well, but you still have that motor memory, and it sticks with you. And so there's a lot to be said behind practicing just the motions. And like, one of the things I do a lot with athletes, especially, I had an online assessment I did last week with an athlete, and he's like just gone into weightlifting and trying to figure it out, and he's swinging the bar all over the place. He doesn't even recognize it. And so I had him move super slow, like a 60-second muscle snatch, and just I want you to drag the bar up your chest and literally just where's the bar?
Yeah.
And
that's where you find the tension too. It sounds
that's where you find the tension. That's where you feel the positions. And he's like, I didn't realize that I was swinging the bar 6 inches in front of my face. Yes, because you're going so fast, you don't have the awareness. But you did it really slow, just dragging the bar up. I'm like, here, pull your elbows back, keep the bar touching you, and then now turn your hands and press over your head instead of swinging it over your head.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I never would have figured that. I'm like, yes, that's why you got to slow it down. Like, I mean, and here's the thing that really gets me is like the level one seminar, the CrossFit level 1 seminar is an amazing course. And what gets me is that there are people who take the course once and suddenly think they've mastered it. And you're like, bro, I've been to 50 of them, and every time I go, there's something else that I'm like, oh, that's what that is. And then you have the guys that are like complacent with their level 1. They wait till the 5-year mark to redo their level 1, to do their level 2. And it's like, dude, that's like 4 years of your life that you've been complacent. How can you possibly retain all that stuff from a weekend seminar and think you mastered it? There's no way.
I made that mistake. Like in that time, I was doing my USA weightlifting level 1, level 2, and all that. But like also my 5 year was up for L1, so I'm like, well, I need to get my L2. And it was one of those things. Like it was fantastic, but I'm like, I should have done that a few years ago.
Yes.
Like I really should have. And then you live and learn, but it's one of those things. Even if it's not an L2 or L1, get together with coaches in your area, learn from them.
Yes.
Like do something. Go to your buddy's gym down the road and see how he coaches.
Yeah.
Open your mind up to new ideas because it'll make you a better coach.
And here's the thing: if you wait 5 years, you're just reinforcing bad habits, and there's a lot less. Like a lot more we have to undo. Like if I tell people if they're actively coaching, then they should not have their level 1, just their level 1 for more than a year. Like go do your level 2 within 9 to 12 months, maximum. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels, and And one of the things, so I actually have a coaches community that I started about 2 years ago.
What's that called?
RX2 Movement. It's RX2 Movement, and it was inspired because when I was learning as a coach, I wish I had someone to go talk to.
Yeah.
Like I went to the CPC course and I went home with my brain full of all this stuff. Like, now how do I apply this? Am I doing this correctly? What does this even look like? And so what we've done is we've created this community where people like go to these courses. Many of these people had zero intention of going to the level 2. I'm like, dude, you got to go. You have to go. Just go. They come back and like, dude, I wish I went sooner. I'm like, yes, I know.
Yeah, it is. That's something you have to go sooner.
You have to go, like no more than a year.
Yeah, that's a great intent to have for you as a leader and a coach too, is like when you thought about back when you were getting involved in that, and you were lucky enough to have the Bergner family, but like you're saying, for these young coaches who are trying to get involved and no one to go back and when the right time is.
Or if you're in a small town and have no one to talk to.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
We've created that community for people. It's like I've got lots of I think we sent like 20 people to the level 2 last year.
Holy
shit.
People who weren't even intending to go, and I just kept harping it. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. And now like they get really excited. They come back like, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing thing ever. I know it was life changing for me for sure, because what it taught me was like, wow, like the level 1 was awesome, but now there's just another level to this, and more so it's Julian talks about this craftsman, like being a craftsman.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do this, then why don't you go all out? Why are you complacent with just being okay?
Yeah, that's something I kind of pride on myself personally and other people. I'm like, if you're gonna do something, go all out. Like, don't be mediocre at it.
Yeah.
Then you're just like everyone else.
Yeah.
And then find your niche, stick with it, whatever it may be. But or that what's that term? Like it was on a movie, The Defiant Ones, where the main character, and he's like, people worry about what other people are thinking left and right. He's like, that's why those racing horses,
blinders.
they put blinders. Just fucking go.
Focus.
Just go. Just focus on what you need to do.
Yeah.
That's something I've always kind of taken to heart.
And with that, one thing I love that you just brought up a little while ago is, so many times we think about, these coaches, online coaches today, which are great, people have, but if they're not there present with you, they're taking videos, sending their coach, and they're getting feedback and this and that. But kind of what you created was making him go through a 60-second snatch. And to actually go through that movement, and like I've seen our coach Bob in here take lifters, and they start from the knee position in that, and they work in there, and they do different points of emphasis on the deadlift or something. But to actually go through that for 60 seconds and have someone there to ask you how you're feeling during that motion, to me just opened my mind. When you said that, I was like, holy, that can work for everything. Because you're going to feel it in the bench press, you're going to feel it in the squat. To actually go through that numerous times to feel who you are opens up everything.
It's millimeters, like respecting every single millimeter of the movement. Like people do their kipping muscle up. I'm like, I'm not impressed with that. Can you do it slow?
I love it. Yes, yes. But
I love that.
Like,
that's what builds.
You already just made my mind. After state's done, I'm going to do just a week of that with our lifters.
It's just
like everyone.
Can you do it slow? And,
Yeah.
Or like Coach B has his 6 positions, like 1 inch off the floor, just below the knee, just above the knee, mid thigh, the bottom of the down position, the top position, and then now go down 10 seconds super slow.
Yeah.
With
like it.
load and like getting people positionally strong instead of how lots of CrossFitters in particular, they just rush through positions and you miss the important positions because they never spend time there. Like deadlifts. Okay, we're watching strongman.
We're watching
here,
the
right?
strongman class at Arnold right now.
Here is the thing that just gets me all the
Make
time
you distracted.
with CrossFitters is they do a deadlift, PR, and dump the bar from the top.
Right there,
It's like,
horrible.
bro,
I set it down, bro.
bro, you just missed out on the best opportunity to build strength.
Exactly.
The
The
eccentric part
Yes.
of the lift is the more valuable part. It's
Yeah.
it's like, and if you were in a powerlifting competition, no lift,
Exactly.
right? and I'm like, why? I mean, during a Metcon, yes, drop the bar. It's all about being efficient. But if you're trying to get strong, the down part is the most important part. In gymnastics, they develop like everything first, concentrics and eccentrics.
Well, do you think that's forgotten in today's world too? Because everything's now. Look at me, look at me, look at me. So
Yeah,
a lot of
for
that's
sure.
the forgotten part, right? It's when you talk about it's everything. It's building all that strength through that downward movement is everything.
Well, I think you should have some kind of even, emphasis on movement in general. You need to have eccentrics, isometrics,
Yes.
and concentrics. If you just think of CrossFit, it's like all concentric. So now
it's
you're
all
only
concentrics, it's all intensity.
Yeah.
But I think that, and so we were talking about this earlier offline, is that we feel like I got into CrossFit in the very beginning. Like 2003 was when it kind of
started taking.
2007 was the first year of the games.
Yeah.
And Julian said this in a podcast recently that the CrossFit Games basically distracted the entire world from what CrossFit actually is.
Yes.
100%.
And that is, and that I don't think it could be described any better. Because all of a sudden you have all these people, they think, especially in Brazil in particular. In Brazil, the CrossFit Games is CrossFit. And to be a good coach, you need to look the part, you need to be an athlete, blah, blah, blah. And to me, it's like, and everyone's like, are you excited about the games? I'm like, no, not really. It's like, that's cool and all, but that's not CrossFit. It's never been CrossFit. Like, in my own, this is my personal opinion, like, CrossFit HQ didn't tell me to say this, it's like, the CrossFit Games and CrossFit itself are polar opposites.
What? Oh, hell yeah.
And like, CrossFit teaches virtuosity. CrossFit Games is competition where it's like, just do it. Like, even in the judges course, it says, your job is not to judge your technique. It's, did they complete the rep? So you have the game side where it's like, let's just be really fast and competitive versus what CrossFit actually is. It's the virtuosity. It's mechanics first, consistency of good mechanics, and then intensity, right? And that's a thing that gets missed all the time, that idea of virtuosity. Like, all the things that we're talking about right now about being excellent in their movement,
Yeah.
that's what CrossFit teaches.
Yeah.
But the competition side of things has kind of fogged that up.
It definitely has. You see a lot of guys who've been in it a long time. It's finally coming full circle.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But you see some of these younger coaches, they kind of forget of what it's actually about.
Or maybe they never even knew
Because they never
were
knew.
never educated.
No, exactly.
That's
They
what I
never
would
knew.
say is like until you told me this before we podcast here, you almost gotta find either some way for CrossFit to get this out and advertise so people know there's a complete difference between the games.
Which they're
now.
starting
I
to.
think
And
that's
the
what-
point of emphasis,
I think
yeah.
that's what's happening right now.
Hopefully.
Is the de-emphasis of the games,
Yeah.
like HQ support of the games, like they're
Okay.
decentralizing that
Okay.
the same way they have the affiliations.
Sure.
So CrossFit's focusing on health, which was always the message. It's always been the message. It's always been, the fitness wellness. The wellness. Oh my gosh, I'm totally butchering this right now. The wellness,
Welcome to the
fitness wellness
podcast.
continuum, right? It's always been about wellness. It's always been about health.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the CrossFit Games athletes, that is the 1 percentile of CrossFitters.
If that.
If that.
Yeah.
And the 99 percentile CrossFit is your grandma,
Yeah.
the accountant, your lawyer. They come in, like, what is RX? What's RX for you? That's the thing. Like, you have. Oh my gosh, you have the whiteboard, right? Everyone's like, what's RX? What's RX? I'm like, don't worry about it. What's RX for you?
Exactly, and that's something, even if you go into most gyms.
Yeah.
Hell, we spent a week in Invictus 3 months ago. most of their members that I saw were still pretty average Joes. So even your most like renowned CrossFit gym, like they probably have the most known mark or branding in CrossFit affiliation.
Yes.
And most of their members were everyday people.
Yeah.
Right? And
Absolutely.
so you have to appeal to the masses, and honestly, as affiliate owners, it's become harder to be an affiliate owner without getting a bunch of shit because it's CrossFit. And that's not why we got into it.
No,
right? It's not why we did this.
No.
So I couldn't be happier with what they're starting to do.
Okay, that's good to know.
I mean, one of my goals is to reopen my affiliate. I closed my affiliate about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because a landlord tripled the rent on us, and I was busy with seminars and stuff, so I was ready to take some time away from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my hope is by the end of the year, or maybe the beginning of next year, is to reopen my affiliate, but I'm going to do it very differently.
Okay.
Like back then, I was just hunting for members. Like, you know, I actually started to kind of work towards this towards the end. Like, I raised my rates. I was like, hey, here's the truth of the matter. There's about 800 CrossFit trainers in San Diego. Of those 800, maybe 200 of them are level 2 trainers. And maybe now of those 200, I think now we have maybe 15 to 20 level 3s. That's still at the 2-3 percentile of CrossFit trainers in San Diego. Yeah. Do you want to be taught by level 1 or do you want to be taught by level 3? And that was a premium thing. So moving forward, if I do reopen my affiliate, my goal is I'm gonna go back to small gym.
Yes.
You know, like small space. I want small classes. I want 6 to 8 people at most. I'm going to be really selective about who comes into the gym. I don't want the meathead who just wants to throw down and slam the barbell all over the place. It's like I want the people who really care about their movement and want to be well.
And you're going to have a great culture that way.
You build your culture that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then once you, like you said, once you have that happen, like since we started doing things differently, we've lost a few people.
Yes.
But it's not that it's funny,
call that blessed subtraction.
No, you would think that, right? So now, actually, this week alone, I've had 5 ex-members come back. Okay. Because they went out to other gyms and tried it, and they're like, it's not the same. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like, we only do this. I'm like, well, I kind of explained that to you when you were here, but you didn't hear me. Yeah. But sometimes you got to go experience something else. But
the grass isn't always greener.
Right, exactly. And that's something, stay true to who you are, right? Blinders. So do what you do best. And I think, I couldn't be.
And if that's your goal moving forward too, the good thing for you is valuing your value.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's huge. People always are going to give that great deal away, just get people in and back and forth. But if you put a value on your value, you know what you're worth. Yeah. That goes a long way, and it goes with your members too, because you're putting in them what they're putting into you.
Yeah.
Well, I think they'll feel like they're part of something special too.
And they are, honestly.
100%.
At the end of the day,
it's a badge of fucking honor.
You're definitely creating scarcity. You're definitely creating something special and premium for them. It's like you're getting the best coaching in the city. You're getting the best culture in the city. You're not going to have that meathead next to you who's going to be trying to pressure you to hurt yourself. That's not what we're here about. And that was like the culture I developed with new members when I onboarded people into my gym. It's like, hey, we're here to be better. We're here to get better. Like, I don't really care if you have. I mean, if you want to be competitive, that's cool too. But at the end of the day, my priority is to make sure that you can come back tomorrow and train.
Yeah. I always say live to train tomorrow. Yeah, like 100%. Like. And that's something, if you can see it amongst coaches, and you might do some local throwdowns, but let's be realistic. Many people aren't going to the games anymore. No. And if you are, then okay, you probably don't belong at your gym. Right? Well, with your average Joes, right?
It was funny because my members, we would go to the local throwdowns, and my members would be like, "Oh my God, you see that girl? What the heck is going on?" Like they were coaching. I've developed a culture in my gym where they coach each other.
Thank you, God.
They coached each other, because I'd be one of 16 people in the class. A big class would be 16 people. Yeah. But I always paired them up with each other, so then that lowered the ratio to 8 people that had to watch. Yeah. And then they were coaching each other, so that made it a lot easier too. It was just known. People knew. If someone brand new came to the gym, it was their first day. They were never. You know how someone comes in the gym, they don't know what they're doing. They kind of sit in the corner,
they're all awkward, looking around,
stretching. Their quad stretch. That never happened in my gym. Yeah. It's someone walked in. Hi, I'm Nat. Let me come over here and show you how to do the Regno warm up. Yeah. That was just the way our culture was, and we built it from the ground up. And so, knowing what I know now from that experience, that's the way I would redo my gym. I would go back to the small gym mentality. And if you actually talk to a lot of the guys who've been doing CrossFit for a long time, they've all just kind of longed for the garage days. They go back to the garage, and another thing that's interesting too is they CrossFit maybe 2-3 times a week, not 6 days a week.
Well, and with that, I was going to ask you, you know, it seems like it's a fancy term right now, auto-regulation.
Auto-regulation.
So like it's been around back in the day, they probably just say let's turn it down now, whatever you want to say. But like, so from your experience from killing your CNS to then going a full year of just working with the PVC pipe. Like,
it was only 3 weeks.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was
a full year. That was crazy.
Samsonite.
I must have watched with Deadlift Party at that point.
Whoa, whole year.
Holy
shit. Have gone crazy.
When you drove the hour just to do the PVC stuff with Coach Berger, like, so what are your thoughts on that? How would you apply that to the people? You know, it seems like a fancy being thrown all over Instagram now, and all the new coaches are going to do this. But how do you apply it when you think of an athlete when you're working with them?
I mean, in general, just in life, you have to have self-awareness.
Yeah,
that's super important. Like, self-awareness will also help you not be a motor moron.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, here's one of the things that so part of my mentoring group that I have. We did a whole like month-long series on coaching people, not coaching athletes.
Love it.
Like, as coaches, these people that walk in the door, we're not just coaching their movement, we're coaching them as people.
Yes.
The way they act here in the gym is a reflection of how they react in life. So we're trying to make people better people from the ground up, not just to move weight or to lose weight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's our job is to make people better in general.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I always try to encourage people to remember is that, hey, you know your body. I need you to be really, really in tune with it and start to learn what does it need. And you know, going back to original CrossFit, Coach Glasswood said, regularly learn and play new sports. It was never the intention that you did CrossFit every single day.
Yeah.
Where people make CrossFit their sports. Like, no, like I rock climb now. You know, I CrossFit once or twice a week, and it's good enough for me. Like, like conditioning wise, that's all I really need to maintain my conditioning.
Well,
I'm not like
rock climbing's got to make your grip ridiculous.
Oh gosh, it's very humbling.
Yeah.
But I go surfing. I go ride a bike. Go do something.
And do you think that'll come in with the CrossFit culture, community, or classes you're gonna have? Like, I feel a lot of times when you're trying to find your attention or getting tuned to things, do you think like meditation, that stuff is going to be kind of the new aspect that comes into the whole gym culture? Because it's almost like needed when you think about finding, whether Olympic lifting, people come up, they're all quiet, they gently grab the bar, and they explode a 300-pound snatch over their head. And that's obviously some meditation involved. Or powerlifters are the complete opposite. Do you think it's ever going to come to be or not? Or?
I don't know. I think it just depends on the person. Like, everyone has different needs. You got to find what works best for you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something like that. I think it comes from being a seasoned athlete. Where you see some athletes, they're in back talking, having fun. You know why? They're kind of going one way because they're going to lose all their fucking nervous energy if they're sitting up back in the back room warming up, being all crazy, and also they're going to lift a weight. Yeah. That's something I've seen with some. You see that in strongman. They're in the back shooting shit, talking shit, but then as soon as they get out near that bar or whatever they're lifting, then it's fucking on.
It's almost like controlling that anxiety.
No, for sure. Like, I know for me in football, you remember how fucking nervous I used to be?
Yeah.
I would be sweating my ass off for hours. I'd lose all my nervous energy. All of a sudden, I'd be listening to like metal beforehand. All of a sudden, I'm like, man, I need to just calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
So for me, that worked, but you see it with athletes now. I think it just comes with time. So for CrossFit, I think as coaches, there's a time and place for us to be like, hey, this is a practice spot. Just have fun. It's lighter, like just good movement, whatever. Now, if all of a sudden it's Fran or Grace, okay, good movement, but let's turn up the intensity.
We're gonna fight.
Yeah, like let's fucking go. So I think that comes down to coaching as well.
That being said, I mean, there's some really interesting stuff that the StrongFit guys are finding with the nervous system.
Oh,
really?
And that stuff is just it's ridiculous. Like, there was a workout. Okay, we want to tell the story of Sarah.
Which workout was it?
The first one, the ET workout.
Oh, the like 30-minute EMOM we all did?
So,
what's ET?
External torque.
External torque and internal torque. Your body can be broken up basically into two muscle groups: external torque and internal torque. Your external torque muscles are your explosive muscles. That's your fight muscles. Your internal torque is more like your stability, and they're also related to your different modes of your nervous system.
So kind of fast switch, slow twitch.
Yeah.
No, kind of.
So like external torque is sympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
So heightened, like you did a line of cocaine. Gotcha. Go.
Fight.
Yeah.
Wow, you went there.
So always. But what was it? It was sumo deadlifts.
It was an EMOM.
Okay.
Minute 1, you did 20 sumo deadlifts, so that's all external torque. That's just explosive. Lightweight explode.
Yeah.
And then the second minute was 20 Yates rows, so just lat dorsey, just explosive lats. And then the third minute was 20 reps of partial
push
range of motion
dumbbell.
push press with a dumbbell.
So we're trying to go like clavicular head of the pack.
Yeah, so just using that explosive part of the pack. and then it was a go till you quit.
Okay.
And the premise was we have like the continuum. There's like the flight state, the fight state, the flow, and you also have freeze on the other side.
Okay.
Right? And everyone starts at the bottom of the circle.
Yeah.
For someone like me who's like angry / anxious.
Yeah, you were like so nice, and all of a sudden you were like, rah. I'm like, holy shit, he's a mean little fucker.
I'm a pretty chill dude, but at the same time, within minute
Come
2,
at me, bro.
Well, we were looking at each other face to face, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to be in a fight. Yeah.
No.
You were kind of saying it was so scaled.
You want to have it like keep moving, be aggressive.
Yep.
But I was screaming like,
it was.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
For the first
awesome.
2 minutes, I was mad. I went straight to fight.
Okay.
And then by minute 9, I got to the flight state where that's where all the words happen. You're like, why am I doing this? I need to just keep going. I don't want to be the first one to quit. You know, I don't want to be the first one to quit. Just keep going. Just keep going. Like you're just talking yourself up.
Sure.
But you know when you're in like fight state, you don't think. There's no words. You just go.
You just go.
And then flow state is even beyond that, where you're like, just go, and this is super easy.
Like you're on the runner's high, they call it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like a runner's high, but slightly different.
Yeah.
Now, I'm at minute 17, 18. I get to minute 29, and I'm like talking. I just go another round, just one more round. You know, I keep talking, and I started to catch myself. I was walking away from the bar, so I was literally fleeing from the bar. Like between sets, I was literally fleeing from the whole situation. Meanwhile, I look back at my friend Sarah, and Sarah's staring at the bar. She's crying, and then by the minute 30, she was going faster.
Yeah, it was fucking
and we're
insane.
just like, what is happening right now?
Well, because I think me about minute 17, I kept doing circles. I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
And then you and I fell out around the same time.
Well, then Bledsoe, he was over in the corner, and I don't know what the hell happened to him.
Yeah, he crashed, and then Tatiana over here, she crashed, was crying her eyes out.
Oh, yeah, she was bawling.
It was gnarly, and then Sarah just eyes on the prize. She's just like so focused, and then she would have kept going except for Julian walked over and said, "Hey, you're done."
Dude, she was. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah,
she would have high as a kite. Her eyes were like super huge, and like I dropped her off. She was staying at her sister's friend's house that night. So I dropped her off. I picked her up for the next morning. And she goes, "I didn't sleep." And I go, "What?" She's like, "I literally didn't sleep. I read a 400-page book." Like, what?
She couldn't come down from the high?
No,
couldn't come down.
She was so stuck in flow state. Like, she was so, like, basically her body felt safe.
Yeah.
Right? You get to that safe space, your body's like, let's just go. Nervous system's like, we're going, we're fighting. Whereas me, I completely fell out of flight and went to freeze where nothing wanted to function. Yeah. And what was interesting about it was the next day I'm sore as hell.
Oh, I was fucked up too. It was terrible.
Sarah was not sore at all.
No. Really?
Because here's the thing.
She hasn't come down yet?
Well, soreness is not even a thing. Soreness is your body, nervous system saying, hey, that sucked. Let's not do that again.
Yeah, it's essential nervous thing. It's not actually the tissue itself. Well, that's what we're finding out.
Now, did you guys all have the same nutrition going in and afterwards, or did she recover different than you guys?
I could have had more carbs, I think.
I was eating like I eat now. I was basically doing vertical diet, eating like a monster. It wasn't that. We're all nutritionally sound.
Okay. It was definitely
more
a mental thing.
Okay.
But also like where you approach it from. Like I'm more of like on the anxious. The first thing I told you, I got it.
Yeah.
And I'm angry.
Yeah.
Right. So I went straight to anger and then fell out. And I asked her, I mean, because there's a big emotional thing. Like we were playing around too. It was like the emotional mapping side of stuff.
Yeah.
And the nervous system is super interesting. And I asked her the next day, I'm like, hey, is it cool if I ask you a question? Like, are you more of an angry, anxious person or more like a sad, depressed person? She's like, definitely more sad, depressed. Yeah. And so what they found is what's interesting is that for someone who's more sad, depressed, for that workout, they'll go through the flight and then they'll go to fight and then they'll go to flow. Okay. Whereas I skipped flight, went straight to fight, then fell back to flight and then went to freeze.
And I thought about that too. I was wondering because I wanted to feel what she did. And I've had it happen in some workouts.
Yeah.
But I also thought about it afterwards. I had so much anxiety that week because I was taking my Strong Fit coach's test.
Yeah.
I was just like this the whole week. Yeah. I didn't really, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then, which I passed, by the way. Awesome. Julian didn't message me until like a month ago.
So he let you mess.
He let me. Richard, I'm sorry he waited so long. But anyways, no, it's.
Did you redo the workout?
Which one? That one?
That one?
No, I want to.
I redid it.
Yeah.
We went for 60 minutes. I went a little bit lighter on the weights.
Okay.
But we went for 60 minutes, and like the only reason why we stopped is because my friend that I was doing with, she had to coach class.
Oh, no shit.
And the next day I wasn't sore.
Well, the thing is that was crazy too, because I told some people about it here, explained it to them. Mm-hmm. They know I don't do Metcons.
Yeah.
Like I don't. And I go, dude, this is the workout. And I go, I went for 32 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I don't even think I could do that. I go, it was because you do find like you're fighting, you're going, and then I start. Yeah, and then all of a sudden I started to lose that, and that's where I think I got definitely sore because that's when I could start feeling shit. I'm like, fuck.
Well, you know what the interesting thing about that is they could ever measure it. Maybe they have or they can, but like you talk about coming from a tough place in your mind, whereas the opposite, like Bill Kazmaier's is always conceive, believe, achieve, and like Josh Bryan coaches guys to write down or tell themselves, I give myself permission to deadlift 800 pounds. So it'd be weird to see what kind of a mindset. Maybe it's personal type too. If you need that hurtful place to come from, or you come in with that positive, I've visioned this in my mind many times and go like no other. I wonder if they could ever even do a study on that. But either way, it works on both ends.
I think they are doing studies.
They are.
Are they really?
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much crazy stuff that they're finding and making correlations.
Yeah.
Like
they're making connections everywhere. It's unreal.
Richard's always talking about how they have a conversation with a lady, and just talking about her life, and then he'll go, "So your right shoulder hurts, and your left hip bothers you." She's like, "How'd you know that?" And
he did that shit to me when we were in. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
So last May, I went down to St. Louis and did the seminar on Coaches Week again to coach down there, and we're out drinking, and honestly, it was something personal between me and my dad. I have never let go.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's like, I was complaining about my right lower back hurting, my glute med, which hasn't happened in a long time. Yeah. He's like, who hurt you, man? And I look at him, I go, what? He goes, you fighting with your dad? I look at him again, I'm like, I don't know what just happened, Richard, but I'm like, we're getting weird tonight. So we were out until like 3 in the morning, I'm just fucking raging. But then it was weird, he put me through some workouts and stuff, and all of a sudden I get home, and I let it all go, and I was watching a movie, and I'm wheezing like a child, crying, like, what the fuck is going on? But I know the feeling because he also called me out. I'm like, how would you even fucking know? I've never had a personal discussion about any of that with him. Yeah. It's
the tattoos, the beard.
Well, he did the same thing to me to an extent. He walks up to me and goes, you didn't want to be the first one to quit, huh? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I saw that. And he's like, you're angry. I'm like, yeah, I am. And I realized what I was angry about. And that was really telling for me. The next 2 weeks were actually super liberating. I finally figured out what I've been mad for a long time about something, about somebody.
Sure.
And the next day, the next workout was just take a sandbag and walk as far as you can. And if anything comes up, just address it. Burn the questions, right?
Yeah,
it's like, okay, if questions come up, address them. Yeah, and I go, wow, this has really been this has been affecting me so much. And literally within 2 weeks after that seminar, it resolved itself. And I was like, never felt better. It's been so amazing, how much of a connection there is. I had a member, one of the ladies I coached, she goes, my left hip's been bothering me really bad lately. And I go, can I ask you a weird question? She goes, yeah. And I go, would you consider yourself an empathetic person? She's like, where are you going with this? And I go, is there somebody in your life right now that's that you're really feeling for, they're going through a bad, and you're really worried about them? Or she's like, how did you know that? And I go, left hip.
So left hip just told me.
I'm looking at this chart, the connections that Richard's made, with the emotional mapping stuff. Yeah. It's she's like, how'd you know? I'm like, this is crazy. This stuff works. I was doing an assessment on one of the girls during Coaches Week, and she dropped a barbell on her neck.
Jesus,
doing a snatch balance. Yeah. And I was like, and I asked her hey, can we go to the emotional stuff? And she's like, yeah. And I go, okay, so right shoulder. Were you really mad at yourself or for something? Were you really just upset with yourself? She's like, oh yeah, I was putting up with my stupid ex-husband. And I was like, oh. And she's like, oh.
I think she had probably, her and Sarah, the biggest breakthroughs.
Oh yeah,
Coaches Week by far.
I mean, I had a really big breakthrough too, in a different
theirs
way.
Was theirs was more apparent in the moment.
In the moment you saw it, they broke down crying.
It was
happening. It was, but
it's funny that you bring all that up too, because it kind of correlates when we had Katie Earn in here. She talked about working with a lot of her clients. What's their whys? What's the weight they carry?
Yeah, everything is why. What's your why?
You find a way to release that through.
She's a huge yogi.
Working on,
it was funny. Also, she started talking about this stuff, and I'm like,
it was.
It was. Because all of a sudden, I started laying some of this down. She's like, oh, and I'm like,
it's amazing. It's not even really anything new. It's just
I just
maybe
connected some
being
dots.
self-confident or aware enough to address it, because a lot of times we all try to hide that stuff, right?
Well, I think that's just apparent in our culture here in America.
Yeah, or being
honestly.
present enough, to be aware of it and conscious of what it is. So for you, Ray, you kind of mentioned a few people. You can readdress them if you want to, but who have been some inspirational people in your life to take you where you are now in this athletic performance world? Is it Mike Bergner?
Definitely Mike
Okay,
Bergner.
the rookie you brought up. Who would they be?
Definitely Mike Bergner. If I could be half as kind as he is,
Okay.
and if I could accomplish half of what he's done, like I just look at him and he's my model.
Awesome.
Definitely Mike Bergner.
Awesome.
For sure.
And then
That's an easy answer.
you talked really about the Yates rows and made me think about something. If you could name a Regno lift, what would it be? What would your lift be?
Oh man.
Because that is such a badass name.
You can't go Regno rows, but it sounds cool, doesn't it?
It sounds good.
Yeah. Maybe
Maybe the Regno complex.
okay, well that
Was that your snatch to clean thing the other day?
No, that was just me being stupid. But
What would the complex consist of?
it would be 3 muscle snatches, 3 snatch balances without a dip, and 3 socks presses.
Okay, one more time, a little slower.
So 3 muscle snatches from the floor.
Okay.
Oh, actually no. Let me back it up. It's 3 tall snatches.
Okay.
Okay, so no dip, just 3 tall
Yep.
snatches. Then 3 snatch balances without a dip, or some
Okay.
people call them drop snatches.
Drop snatches.
Okay.
And then 3 socks presses from behind the neck.
I
Awesome.
like
We're-
that. That'd be a
we're
good.
gonna-
Like
yeah.
that's a good warm up.
That is my
We're gonna
warm-up.
get a film of that before you leave.
Well,
today.
dude, we got to write that down.
Okay.
I'm gonna put.
Yeah, that's
Right
awesome.
on the board.
So the
I
Regno
like that.
complex, I like that.
We're gonna coin it, man.
That's my warm-up.
And then
Let's do
going
that.
forward, with everything you're doing, continue to learn. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to go with this journey?
Oh man, I don't know. That's hard to answer because if you asked me if you told me 10 years ago that I'd be where I am now, I never would have believed you. I just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I would be a pastor in the Philippines.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. What's, there's probably many, but what's one of the most proudest experiences you've gone through since you've gotten into this world since like 2011 as a coach?
Oh man, just getting to travel.
Okay.
I mean, that's always been a dream of mine.
Yeah.
And to actually be doing it,
Yeah.
that's super awesome. And to get to meet all these people that I get to meet every week and get to work with. I mean, people fanboy over Coach Bergner, right? And I go, it's every day. And then sometimes,
Yeah, it's like, I know. Be like Bergner.
sometimes to me, it's like I have to catch myself. I go, is this real life? Like the other about a month ago, I was teaching a flexibility seminar in Aromas.
Okay.
And I didn't know this, but Dave Castro moved back up there.
Okay.
You know, and I was walking up to the door, and then some guy in a truck was kind of getting out of his truck, and he gets out of the truck, and oh, hey, Dave. I'm like, I didn't know you were up here. He's like, yeah, I moved back up here before the games. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, he hung out with us all day long. It was really cool. Like, he came back at lunch and he gave us a tour of the ranch and showed us, and even gave us some insight of how they program some of the workouts and like the runs and stuff. And like showed us where there was a bear cave and things like that. And then we took his Land Rover out, and my Xterra went off roading in the backyard, and he got stuck, and he spent like the next 30 minutes using the winch to pull him out of the mud. And but what was really, really crazy was after the course, I'm driving away, and he texts me and he goes, hey, what are you doing today? I'm like, oh, nothing really. He's like, hey, come over. We're gonna have people over at the house. And I was like, I get to go hang out with Dave Castro. That's crazy. Like, and then at the end of the night, like everyone went home, and it was me, Dave, and one other guy. We watched the Pacquiao fight. In his
That's
living room.
awesome. Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there like, is this real life? Like, how is this even happening right now? Yeah. And I look back and go, how did I even get here?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of
Building those relationships.
yeah,
that are worthwhile.
just building, and that's what I was telling. So one of the things I started doing this year is I actually take we have a coaches community group. I used to call it a mentoring program, but I realized that it's not a program because I have no program, no curriculum. There's no real structure to it. It's just like, hey, let's just talk about things. You know, it's a community, is what I call it. But what I decided to do is I wanted to kind of take it a step further. And I handpicked, I opened it up to 10 people. I said, hey, I want to start investing really closely into maybe 10 people, and 5 people bid. And so I once a week or once every 2 weeks I meet with these people for 30 minutes, and just we have their professional goals, their coaching goals, their personal goals, and their what was the fourth one? I forget. Anyway, that's blowing it now. Total terrible mentor. But one of the things I was telling one of the girls was like, hey, if you want to do big things, you need to surround yourself with people who are doing big things. I had one of the kids that's in the group. I said, does this really feel like? Is this really a place where you're gonna grow? Like, if you want to be an amazing coach, is this actually the environment where you're gonna be able to do that?
Yeah.
And then the answer is no. If the answer is no, then why are you there?
Why are you there?
Yep.
Exactly.
Like, obviously when you're newer, you're gonna have to, like, a period where you're like, Gary Vaynerchuk says you're basically eating dog shit, is what he said.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do that, and that's part of the journey. And so for sure, but at some point, you can only do that for so long, and you're wasting time. Like, you have to get to a point where, like, okay, I gotta just who's a big mover and shaker, and how can I be around them?
Yeah.
And with Coach Bergner, it was, I literally for 6 months I just would go to his house and just watch him coach.
Yeah.
And then what I think the catalyst for us getting closer was he was going to the Philippines, and I go, hey, like, my family's in the Philippines, like, I could go with you, like, you don't even have to pay me, I'll just go with you.
Yeah.
And so I went with him, and that's when we became friends.
Oh, very cool.
Like, I asked him one day, I was like, the first thing he says to me, he goes, hey, I fly carry-on only. And I go, oh, cool, me too. Because I literally do.
Yeah.
And then we were standing on the street one of the days, the first day we were there, I said, hey, Coach, do you ever just, like, take a shower with all your clothes on, do your laundry in the shower? He's like, yeah, all the time. And I'm like, did we just become best friends?
Oh, that's how you guys wash the clothes?
Yeah. When I travel, that's how I make it in that little Go Rock, that GR2 there, for an entire month in Brazil.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's so much easier than having those stupid little drag-along bags.
Oh, no, for sure. When I went to Europe for 2.5 weeks, I just had a bag.
Yeah.
It's awesome. You need 2 pairs of jeans, socks,
That's
shirts.
it. 2 pairs of socks, wash them every day.
And then, so you just said your experiences for you, surrounding yourself with the best.
Yes.
You are, like you said, when you say traveling, you're traveling the world, right?
Yeah.
You're taking yourself to other places to learn from countries and different people, and that's pretty. I mean, being aware and present of yourself to get yourself out there and have the opportunity to then do it.
Yeah, and I think I definitely have a unique experience because I've seen the world from different perspectives.
Yeah.
Whereas you have some people who just never really go anywhere, and they don't realize that there's just so much out there.
Yeah.
I think one of the most heartbreaking things for me was I was really close to a particular gym, and like they knew about what I was doing for coaches.
Sure.
And they never expressed any interest in being part of it.
And
I was like,
that's tough for you.
Really? Like you know who I am. You know that my passion is to help people be better, and the fact that, and like I'm telling them, hey, I'm spending this much money to be part of this group, and to learn, keep learning, and it's to see them just be complacent with where they're at.
Yeah.
And like, man, that's heartbreaking for me. Like you're missing your potential.
I think what comes around goes around a lot too, and like you said, you got to be willing to sometimes go out your comfort zone, and if you are, kind of fool yourself at sometimes, you got to put your ego down and learn.
I mean, like,
and
there's
maybe
that
it'll open
meme
up for you later. Yeah.
Well, there's that meme that says the comfort zone's a nice place, but nothing grows there.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. I haven't seen that one, but
like you said, getting
it's
outside.
So true. Like,
yeah, fuck yeah.
And then, do you have like what is your favorite type of athlete or coach, or I'm sorry, your favorite athlete to coach yourself? Is it a beginner? Is it someone that's already who moves well to move better? Like for you, what's your greatest challenge in an athlete for you to coach?
This is also the answer to what I look for when I'm hiring coaches to work for me.
Oh, listen up, people.
Is I don't necessarily look for the most talented mover.
Yeah.
I look for the most humble and most teachable.
Awesome.
And the one that is more service-minded.
Yeah.
The one that wants to put other people first.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I look for, because you can't teach people who are just the people that you're coaching. Like I have someone that I'm coaching now. Like every time I say something, they have an answer for it. It's like, okay, well, you're really not ready to learn, are you? Like you're just justifying everything. Like that's not what I want to hear. Like, like I get it, but try this. Like, and that's the thing. It's like be okay with failing.
Yeah.
Be okay with failing, and that's what I look for. I look for someone who's gonna be okay with failing. Like I'll be like, hey. And I can be completely blunt with them, like, that sucked.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
I really, really like Richard's story.
Who's Richard?
Richard Aceves.
Yeah, he's strong.
Yeah, when he so that guy, I mean, he's pretty young, but he's had a lot of different things he's done. Like, he dropped out of school to become a chef.
Oh, wow.
And all he did was I just need to be around it. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to have to kick me out. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn this.
Yeah, I don't even think he was old enough to work there.
He wasn't old enough to work there.
He was just
Like, he was
volunteering his
14
time.
years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's this passion right there.
Yeah. And then
Rich
when
is one of the most passionate people though
Yes.
that I've ever fucking met.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when he started hanging out with Coach, it's like, I just want to be around you. I just want to be here. Like, what do you want me to do? What should I do? What should I do?
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite people right now, one of my favorite athletes I've ever coached in my life. When he first started working with me, he annoyed the living crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because he was so like, oh, thanks, Coach, blah, 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 what should I do? What should I do? I'm like, oh my God, just calm down a little bit. Like, you're
really scaring me. Get away.
Yeah, but then, I learned to appreciate him. And I'm like,
Sure.
he's literally my favorite person to coach in the entire world.
Yeah.
And then now I look for those people.
Okay.
And it's like the ones that just want to learn.
Yeah.
They have no ego.
Yeah.
They just want to learn. They want to get better. That's my favorite.
That's awesome.
Well, especially if all of a sudden you have I always say it like, sometimes my lifters are like, oh, could I say that? I always tell them like, because they'll coach someone else on something because they see it. I'm like, I'd rather have a room full of coaches than one coach and all athletes.
Yes.
Right?
I want a discussion.
Yeah. Like,
Richard
exactly.
said this is really great, and there's actually, I love this because I feel the same way. It's like, he wants the people he coaches to be independent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want replicas, right?
Yeah, I don't want a replica. I want someone like Julian also says, like, pick your own color. Yeah. Like, I love it when there's my favorite example, Nikki. She's been part of my group from the beginning.
Okay.
There was one day we were talking about the dip on a jerk, and she was using a cue, and I didn't agree with it at first, and I was like, I don't know about that, and she's like. And then she's like, please don't kick me out of the group. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna kick you out of the group. Like, if I'm wrong, I want to know. Yeah. And I literally stood in front of a mirror for like 15 minutes, like, butt back. What the heck does that even mean, butt back? Like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Like, that was actually kind of a cool cue, and now I use it.
Yeah.
I want someone who's gonna push back on me. Like, I don't want minions.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I want people who are gonna think for themselves.
Yes.
And also people who are gonna be teachable. And because I expect it. I mean, I expect it of myself. I expect it of the people I work with. I want that kind of interaction. And I don't want the minion. That's terrible.
Yeah, I'd rather not have a sheep.
Yeah, I don't want sheep. I want a sheep with teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to call this podcast.
Like, listen to me when I tell you, trust me when I tell you to do
Yes.
something. But if you legitimately feel like I'm wrong, then don't be afraid to tell me because I want to know.
Yeah.
And that's a humbling thing too. Like,
Yes.
I come back and go, oh, my favorite one was the internal torque thing on the squat. Because I've been teaching, hey, pull your heels together. And then after the course, I came back, okay, guys, I'm sorry, I taught you this wrong. It's actually turning your toes towards each other. And they're like, oh.
Yeah.
And
that's something too, like, even like from here, like, you ever get an athlete, you're like, well, they said this. I go, they might have said this cue, but they're probably trying to get some kind of stimulus
Context
or
is
something.
everything.
Yeah. I'm like, so they're probably trying to get some kind of goal out of it, right?
Yeah.
I go, now just try this.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things you still have to be an open book on, right?
Yeah.
And that goes back to credit you too. You can come back and say, hey guys, I'm sorry. I meant to say that. Where a lot of people just be full of themselves and not correct themselves in front of their students.
Or I
They'll
was full out wrong.
Yes, exactly. And you being able to
Like-
put your ego aside, teach that is huge.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, guys, I've been teaching you this wrong for the last 6 months. Or even the deadlift thing. I'm like, hey, guys, remember that when I told you to do this with your deadlifts? Well, the reason for that is because I suck at deadlifts.
Well, and to their credit, at least they're loyal enough to listen to you and do it that way,
Yeah,
right?
that's kind of cool. I think
Yeah.
that's I mean, I learned that from the pastor that mentored me when I was an intern. Like, everyone in the church always looked at him as like the perfect guy. But one of my favorite things about him was that he was transparent about his own failures.
Really?
And like, it humanized him to me.
For sure.
And it's like, wow, like he's not all that. He hasn't arrived, and he's still just pushing through, and that really inspired me to be the same way. Like, hey, this is what I suck at. Like, when we do on Thursdays, we have video analysis where people send in video. We'll watch the video together, and I'll randomly pick someone. All right, your turn. What do you see? And like, I have things that I've coined. Like, that's Regno syndrome, where like you do a clean and you don't straighten your legs. Because I have never straightened my legs on a clean, so I just call it Regno syndrome.
Well, when you're 5'4".
But on a clean, you should straighten your legs. When you finish, you should straighten your legs. Like,
oh, you mean on the extension?
Yeah, on the extension. Okay. I just lack leg extension on the clean, so that's Regno syndrome.
Gotcha.
All right, so what fuels Regno? you don't got to go so deep here, but what fuels you to continue to learn? What fuels you to continue to compete? What fuels you to coach and travel?
Making people better.
What's that?
Seeing people be better.
Awesome. Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Like watching people win at something.
Okay. Seeing those victories come.
Yeah, like I think it's way more. Like one of the guys that I mentored just got invited to be on level 1 seminar staff.
Okay.
Nice.
And that was huge.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything for him really.
Yeah.
He's like, thanks Ray for all this. I'm like, I really didn't help you at all. You did all the work. I just like I watched him coach. I go, hey, try this. Let's do this.
At the end of the day, that's all we are as coaches, though.
We're just
like really,
we're just pointing them where they need to go.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I didn't really do much for him.
they already have everything there. They just maybe need a little guidance.
Exactly.
Well, really, if you're great at what you do, you really become a teacher more than a coach
Yeah.
too. If you really put all the aspects together, as they say.
Yeah.
And then for you, Ray, how do people get in touch with you? Are you on Instagram? Or
I'm on Instagram. It's just Ray Regno, RayRegno.
Okay. And that's on
What
Instagram.
about
and then you also have a couple of your company. What is it called on Instagram?
RX2 Movement.
There
Okay.
we go.
I don't really look at that Instagram thing though, so look at
Ray Regno?
Ray Regno.
Awesome.
That's
Okay.
easier.
So you're like a food. You have a lot of.
Oh, I have like 9 Instagram accounts.
Oh my
So I
God.
have Ray Regno. I have RX2 Movement.
Yeah.
I have RX2 Movement BR for Brazil. RX2
Yeah.
Movement ES for Espanol.
Wow,
I have,
you're enterprise over here.
yeah. I have Food Review. So I have
And then what's your troll account?
my troll. That's Ray Regno. I just started RX2 Overland. I'm into trucks.
Wow.
Oh, you asked me earlier what would I like to do in the future?
Yeah.
I was like, actually, one of the things I want to do is I want to become one of those guys that does product reviews for off-road vehicles. And
Really? So is that like a hobby of yours outside of the rock climbing?
I'm a Hoonigans. Like,
Really?
You ever watch Hoonigans on YouTube?
No.
Like
No.
Ken Block, like all the drifting
Oh,
stuff.
really?
No.
Oh, so we have some a snowy field right there.
Yeah, let's go.
And a Silverado.
I have my big
We
truck.
can't see
Dude,
you
I got
on
some
it.
all-terrain tires.
I'm down to do
Put that
some
bitch in
drifting.
4-wheel drive. Let's go. I'll show you how we do it in Minnesota.
All right, let's do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love cars.
That's awesome.
Like I actually just started a YouTube channel the other day where I did a review video on how to install an off-road bumper on a truck.
No shit.
Yeah, I just love that stuff. So
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to come out to California and visit you next time.
yes, let's do
Hell
that.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You ready for Holland?
Yes.
That's awesome. You guys want to haul them for the new training at Strong Fit, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be there for a week.
Okay.
So
That's
I'll get
awesome.
there Tuesday because I have a music festival. So I'm gonna be hurting when I get there, man. I have to drive from Chicago to here. Flights at
Are you
7:30 at
playing in
night.
the music festival?
No. I'm just going to get weird, and then
Get
and
weird.
then I gotta
Priorities
fly to
first.
Amsterdam, go see them in Utrecht, and then all of a sudden we have a whole week together.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be
When
fun.
you just said get weird, that just reminded me of Ariana Grande.
They have a lot of similarities.
No, so Ariana Grande, like, have you ever watched Carpool Karaoke?
A
on
little
YouTube?
bit, yeah.
Okay, so there was the Ariana Grande one is like is my favorite episode of that.
Okay.
And she was telling the story about how when she was 2 years old, she had a Jaws themed birthday party,
Okay.
and they're like.
It's kind of weird.
Jaws. She's like, yeah, it's weird in there. So I was like, that's such a cool phrase.
That's hilarious.
It's weird in there.
Yeah. I was
So
saying
that's
this.
what I mean. You said weird, and I thought of Ariana Grande.
Right.
She's like,
That's
it's
pretty
weird
neat.
in there. How neat is that?
Yeah.
He doesn't know what is that. That's pretty neat.
No,
They
he
just
doesn't
showed
know.
that video.
Sorry, that's an
Yeah.
inside scoop.
You know about it? That's pretty neat.
That's
How
pretty
neat. Is
neat.
that?
Oh shit.
You got any other questions?
No, man. No, it was
That was
awesome.
great. Ray.
Thank you
Awesome.
for coming,
Thank you
man.
for coming, dude.